everyone, I'm Kaylin Monroe. I'm the Farm and Agribusiness Extension Agent here in Southeast Alabama. Thanks to funding from the Southern Risk Management Education Center and the USDA National Institute of Food and Agriculture, we're excited to bring you our Faces of Direct-to-Consumer series, highlighting the diversity of operations and creative ideas in direct-to-consumer meat sales right here in Alabama. This series is for inspiration only and does not promote or endorse any one operation over another. It's simply just a way to share different approaches and spark ideas for your own journey. My team is excited to take you all to Rainwater Ranch, located in Coleman, Alabama, to hear from Lauren and Colton Rainwater, the family that owns this operation. We'd like to extend a special thank you to the Rainwater family for having us out today and allowing us to record their family and get their story.
Hey, I'm Colton Rainwater.
And I'm Lauren Rainwater, and this is our son,
Matthew Rainwater.
And we are the owners of Rainwater Ranch. Colton and I both grew up in families where agriculture was a huge way of life. I grew up on a cattle and poultry farm from my childhood up until college.
And my dad was in the poultry industry from early on, and we had cows when I was a little boy about his size. And that took and got changed when a developer took and bought the property we were leasing for a subdivision. So as we took and got married and started thinking about what our life would look like, we always knew we wanted to have a farm. We didn't know when or where or how that was going to work. But the Lord blessed us and was able to get us this piece of property here that we own now and have been working for the past 3 years. And that was how Rainwater Ranch was born. So as we took and bought the ranch, it was like, what are we going to do? How are we going to take and use this land? Yes, we want to have cows on it, but we want to do something more. We want to do something meaningful. And Lauren is actually a certified nutrition coach as well. So as we were sitting down, we were talking about it, was like, why don't we take and raise the cleanest beef that we can for the people of the public? It was just a perfect time for us to make that jump. And it's worked out really well, I would say.
Absolutely. And I think that just kind of like you said, we were looking for something that was more meaningful than maybe just a cow-calf operation, in the sense of that still is very meaningful, but we wanted more connection. We wanted more opportunities to connect with the public in our community. And, you know, my side of the family, they've always done cow-calf operation, and it's more just kind of farmer to farmer or farmer to sale-born type relationship. And we wanted to have a little bit more of a reach, a greater capacity to influence our community. And so, kind of like you said, just our desire to raise something that I would put in my son's body, I would put on our table for him and feel so great about it. Kind of that concept paired with how can we have the biggest impact in our community with just this, you know, small amount of land and operation that we have. And that's pretty much kind of how we were like, all right, I think it's beef. Let's do it.
Yeah.
I think what sets us apart as small ranchers who are growing beef in, you know, small batches on a small family farm compared to what you find in the grocery store is that, number one, everything we do is raised with intention and care. And we know, kind of like we've said before, we know what's going into them. We partner with people who create feed. They've, you know, formulated it just for what we want. We have a customized feed ration that we believe in, and that is free from all the junk that a lot of these big time beef producers are feeding their cattle. And so I think just the peace of mind that you get of, number one, you know where it's coming from, you know who it's coming from. If you follow along with us, you know our values as a family, and you know that we're going to do the best that we can to give you the most wholesome, clean, pure beef that we can. And I think that is probably one of the largest parts of what kind of differentiates us from grocery store beef.
So when we first started, we sold everything in whole, half, and quarters. That seemed to be the easiest way, most functional way to take and get our beef out there and not have to handle a whole lot, because like Lauren said, we do have full-time jobs, so it does take a lot of time when you go into that individualized cuts. But we have changed some things on that.
Yeah. So number one, I would say being able to sell individual cuts, we have to have the freezer space, number one. That was a challenge at first, and a lot of the factor of not only are we working for full-time jobs, but where in the world are we going to put individual cuts of beef for, 500 to 1,000 pounds of beef? So being able to have the freezer storage, we've bought a few more freezers so that we're able to house some beef on hand. We've done that to kind of help.
Yep.
We're partnering with someone in the community here in just a few months. We can't say much yet, but a super fun partnership is coming where they are going to allow us to sell our individual cuts out of their building, their operation. And then we're also, kind of like we said earlier, we're trying with our Wagyu Angus Cross a subscription type box that'll be able to ship nationwide that you could pick up local, and kind of give that option as far as individual cuts of beef. But I would say the majority of our sales right now is beef shears, your halves, your quarters, and your wholes. Thank the Lord, we have sold out 6 months in advance for every beef shear that we've done. So it is easier to do beef shears, from a grower standpoint, but you have the capacity and ability to reach more people with your individual cuts. It's easier for people to just buy a couple of steaks and a few packs of ground beef.
Yeah, because not everybody's got that freezer space.
Exactly.
So being able to change things up, and that was really why we looked at that. Not because, hey, we need to move beef. No, we were moving it fine, but you had a whole market of people that wanted something a little different, smaller packages.
Yeah.
How can we do that? Because we want to support you guys, but we can't in that capacity.
Absolutely.
So we kind of changed that up.
Yeah, the support was always there for so much of our customer base. They just could not house, 200 to 300 pounds of beef. And so that was kind of, once we finally got our feet underneath us, we were able to purchase a few more freezers. That kind of gave us an avenue to serve more customers.
So when we look at how it is that we're purchasing our beef, we prefer to take and buy cows, whether it's cows or bulls that we're going to cut out, or steers that have already been steered. We like to buy from an individual. I know a lot of people, like we've talked before, carry stuff, cow calf, go straight to,
We're doing something here.
that goes straight to the sale barn, which is great, and we need that as a community. But we like to know exactly where they come from. That way I can go see the bull, the cow, what did that animal look like, what was the size on it. So it is it is very challenging though, when prices are as high as they are right now, for us to take and get other farmers to take and sell directly to us. Everything that we have purchased has came from somebody that was a close friend. And that has worked out really well, because I can ask those details later on down the road. Like, hey, have you had problems with this? Or has she had problems calving before? Or whatever it may be. And I've got that relationship with them and can talk to them about that. We're hoping we've built that relationship with the Wagyu Angus Cross breeder that we purchased those from earlier that you saw. So we hope to continue to build those relationships so that we can make that happen and know exactly where we're getting things from.
Most our cows are Angus or Angus Cross.
So like Maverick said, most of our cattle are Angus or Angus Cross cattle. When we got to looking at what we were wanting to do, my father-in-law had primarily Black Angus, nothing registered, commercial cows that had a heavy Black Angus influence in it with a registered bull. They had took and fed a couple out just for their family, and he said, hey, I like it. So as we ventured out, that's where we actually purchased our first steers from, was him. And fed them out, went exceptionally well. We liked the flavor. Did a little feeler with some people that we knew, hey, if we were going to offer something, what would you want? And the answer always kept coming to the top of Black Angus, Black Angus, Black Angus. So when we jumped in and bought our herd, that was the way that we went as far as influencing those. Now, we have had to take and supplement some with a Hereford along the way, but we try to stay to those top 2 or 3 animals that are going to be right there up with that Black Angus breed. Recently, we just have took and ventured out to a little bit different line of beef, different breed line, I say, because it's marketed differently on the social media side of things. So
it's a little more premium, if you will. Obviously, it's Wagyu influence. It's a Wagyu and Angus cross. And so obviously with Wagyu, it is a little bit more expensive. And so we have kind of taglined this as it's going to be beef that is crafted for the connoisseur. It's going to be part of our reserve beef line and going to be limited quality or limited quantities and sold kind of like a subscription box style for those who are, you know, the grill masters and people super intrigued with, you know, fancy different types of beef and different cuts. And so we have, like he said, we'd had a lot of questions over the years of, well, what about Wagyu? Have you tried it? Obviously, there's a lot more marbling quality in Wagyu a lot of the time. So we're super interested to see kind of how that plays out compared against our Black Angus. And also just really excited to offer something fun, a fun, you know, extension of what we already do. It's going to be more of like an experience. And so we're super excited to bring that to the beef program.
We take and house everything right here as far as finishing goes. We go from cow, once that cow drops that calf, we see it from there till the day it leaves here and goes to the butcher. That allows us to see exactly how they're growing, extend times if we need to as far as when we're going to finish them. A lot of people go off a predetermined date as to when they're going to do it. We go off what that animal looks like. If we have to tote it a little bit longer, yes, that does increase our cost at the end of the time, but it also allows us to make sure that we're hitting target weights correctly because we don't take and add anything to them. Like we said, there's no additives, there's no growth hormones, nothing that comes into play there. So whatever that animal is how it comes out at the end. So making sure that we're breeding correctly and we can see them from start to finish is a big factor in what we do day in and day out.
Yeah, I feel like too, you know, obviously we have a lot of friends that go the feedlot route, and that is perfectly fine. Just for us, we both enjoy the intention that we can give our cattle when they are here on site until time to head to the processor. It gives us, I think, a little bit more feeling of control, and that we know if our name's on it, we know what's going in their bodies, we know the care that they're receiving, we know from, like you said, start to finish, that they are in our care, they're receiving the type of care we expect. We have high expectations for our product, and there's not a doubt, you know, if they're here 24/7, there's not a doubt that those expectations are being met.
I can tell you, because of that, I can tell you if that cow's got a hair out of place from day one to day two on what's going on because of that. So a lot of times we even catch things up front, you know, that could be a problem, you know, 2 weeks down the road that somebody may not have caught because there was, you know, mass quantity there. But with us having them right here in front of us and checking them daily, I can see exactly what's going on with them. If we need to take and change things a little bit and fine tune it to make the best that we can to put it on somebody's table, that's what we do.
Social media has been one of the biggest ways and platforms that we use to sell our beef and merchandise. Facebook has been a game changer for us as far as marketing, selling our items and products. Instagram's been a little bit of behind the scenes on that, but mainly it's been Facebook, which directs our sales to our website. Word of mouth, of course, has always been, you know, a traditional method. We always appreciate that, but I would say probably the number one way that we get our beef on people's tables is from our social media channels.
Having places that you can go when you first start out is a big deal.
Absolutely.
We didn't have that. I mean, we did, but we didn't. So like
we
she
had our
said,
parents.
yeah, we did. And they've got useful knowledge, but you know, like anybody else, you don't always want to take your parents' advice, especially if you're spreading your wings on this new venture and you're going to do it your way and this, that, and the other. So trying to find those places to get the mentorships, if you will, the plugged into different communities. You being part of the Young Farmers Advisory Committee with Alabama Farm Credit has been extremely knowledgeable. Like, is like a sponge. She comes home and it's a full-on offload of everything she's learned, and it has really helped our operation too.
Yeah, I think kind of like you said, being able, so what I think what's made my involvement with Farm Credit super special is it is a resource and a hub for them to pull in all of these other areas and resources and mentors and organizations and get them in one place to pour into us as young farmers. And you know, instead of me having to go reach out to a million different places. And so having that opportunity has been extremely beneficial to our operation, just knowledge as young farmers. Your own Farm City Committee and
Yep.
a lot of community connections that
Yep.
I know you've made.
And when you start making those little connections, it turns into something bigger. Like I said, mentorships. When we were looking at our feed ration, we first started some cattle out on this one feed, and I didn't like the way it was performing. I didn't like what it was doing to our animals. They tasted great. They finished fine, but I didn't like the way through the process that I was seeing it work. There was just a lot of volatility in the way that I was feeding. So I wound up talking to a guy. He gave me a lot of information. I spent 2.5 hours one night on the phone talking about feed. And I know that sounds crazy, but it was very interesting at the end of it, and finishing cattle and the whole feed program and the way that he does it. That has became very useful. Matter of fact, I've got a call with him later this week to take and figure out where we're at, how the changes that he thought I needed to make have boosted our program or affected it. What happened? So,
and that's huge as beef
Yeah.
producers to have that, to have the ability to sit down with the people who truly control the different aspects that you need from them. And
Well-
so to have that direct line of, hey, this is working or it's not, like to have him be able to sit down with you
Yeah.
and be like, tell me what you love, tell me what you don't, and we're going to fix it right now. That's huge. You don't
Well-
always get that.
and when I first started, and sometimes even now still, there's this big stigma around, hey, I'm going to put a bubble around what I do and how I do it so that you don't know how I do it and you can't accomplish that. And at the end of the day, all of us small timers are never going to be able to feed the world.
No,
That's why those feed yards have got places. That's why there's larger programs that got a place in all of this. We can't be in every restaurant, you know.
you can't be in every house.
That's
you know?
right. So being able to share that knowledge with other people through those committees, or
Even just like beef producer to beef producer.
That's right.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's no competition with a lot of our friends. I mean, some of the greatest advice that we get is like, we call up our friends who are doing the exact same thing we're doing. They're doing it the same way. And we're like, hey, we've got a problem. Or have y'all had this? How did you handle it? And
Yep.
they pour into us, you know. In some people's eyes, we're competition, but it's not like that when you find the right group of people. And I would dare say most people in this industry are like that. They're going to help you because, kind of like you said, there's room at the table for everyone.